Hey, potty training. Let me talk to you about toilet training your baby. Yes, I mean your baby, not even your toddler. I've been asked by so many of you who have seen my videos and photos from the past about how we trained our children to be completely toilet trained, literally in knickers by the age of 10 to 11 months old. And in fact, they were toilet trained with their poo at 6 to 7 months old. Never again, ever again pooed their nappies. Their wee took a little bit longer. One of them was 10, 11 months. The other one was 11, 12 months, things like that. And in fact, our eldest was even out of nappies at nighttime by 15 months old. Now you might think this is crazy. Sometimes I even feel like I'm crazy sharing this story. I'm sure people don't believe me, but I have some video footage that I can show you to prove it. Anyway, let me share with you how. Here's the story. I noticed one night I was sitting in a restaurant having dinner with my husband and obviously our baby. And across from us, there was what seemed to be a deaf couple with a baby a similar age. And they were all signing, and this baby was totally understanding their conversation. And it was only then that it occurred to me that our babies are able to imitate us right from like 6, 7 months old, right? Their vocabulary is one of the last things that develops. But as you know that your 1-year-old or 10-month-old, they know what they want, right? They just don't have the vocabulary to tell us. And so I realized, here we are, 5, 6 months, 7 months old, and when we say clap hands, they clap hands, and we say, where's your nose? And they find their nose. And so we can say, where's your eyes? And they point to their eyes. They completely understand even way before they have the language to be able to speak what it is that they're understanding. So what I did is I decided, I'm going to teach my kids sign language. And it was absolutely a magical experience. How fast they grab onto that. I realized, they're copying things we do. They want to eat solid food at 6 months old, sometimes 5 months old. Why? Because they're watching us eat and they start wanting to put things in their mouth. And so I went and got a book called Australian Baby Hands. That was the book I got, but go find whichever one you like. These days you probably don't even need a book. It's probably out there on the internet somewhere. And I started signing to our children right from when they were able to keep a fixed gaze on me. I'm talking 3 months old. So I just did the basic signs. So there was like mummy and daddy and hurt and water and hungry and more. And just a few, and cat and dog, where they pat their leg, and toilet, the sign for toilet. So what would happen is, now your child typically has a routine as to when they go to the toilet. And I found it a whole lot easier to train the babies with their poo first, because it's such a strong sensation in the body that they're able to identify it a whole lot easier. And these days, with how good nappies are, even when they do a wee, they barely even know something came out of their body, right? Because nappies are so good at quickly absorbing it and pulling it away. They don't even feel wet at all, which, is a good thing from one angle. So what I would do is every single time that I knew that, I waited until they were able to sit. So you've got to wait, I believe, until your child is able to sit up quite well, so that you can start using a potty. For our kids all sat at around 5 months old. So as soon as they could sit, a couple of weeks later, they'd be sitting in their high chair every morning eating their breakfast or something like that. And I know that, I've got the toilet, the potty nearby, because I know that this is about the time every morning that they go to the toilet. And so when I would see them pause their eating and start pushing and start grunting, as you know, if you're a parent, I would say toilet, toilet, toilet. And I would just calmly pick them up out of their high chair or wherever it was we were, and I would put them on the potty. Now, normally by then, it's about to come out of their body, and so they can't really hold it even if they tried. There was never a sign of any kind of distraughtness in my children ever. And I would sit down on the toilet, and as they would grunt and push, I would say, toilet, toilet, good girl, well done, toilet. and I would just associate. And then when they had finished, I would show them what they had done. I'll say toilet. That was literally it. Now, the downside of this is it's quite inconvenient. So that I didn't build any kind of anxiety with the children, I knew I had to be completely consistent. I couldn't put them on the toilet sometimes and then be in the middle of a shopping center next time and they're going to the toilet and decide, oh, it's too hard, you can just do it in your nappy. Because that's gonna build a fear in them. Well, you know, do I do it in the potty? Do I do it in my nappy? I mean, where do I do it? And so we had to be super consistent. I'd be driving and I'd be checking my rearview mirror the whole time. And you know, if they needed to go to the toilet, literally when we were driving, I would pull over on the side of the road. We had a station wagon. I would pull up the boot and I would sit them on the potty. So it was a bit inconvenient a whole lot of times, but it paid absolute dividends. You know, and when it comes to being hurt or being hungry and things like that, even just feeding the child, before I gave them more on the spoon, I would say more, and then I would give them more. And then I'd say more, give them more. Literally within 3 weeks, they would start signing back to me. The children were able to sign back to me by 7 months old. By 7 months old, they would start doing these little signs telling me they had to go to the toilet, and it wasn't always perfect. Sometimes they'd do a clap or they'd do something with their hand that I would pick up on as a parent, and I would say toilet, toilet, and I would put them on the potty, and they didn't know any other way ever. And so our children ended up being toilet trained at, like I said, you know, with their poo, literally 6 months old. Within a month of doing this, they never again did it in their nappy. And sometimes they would almost hold it. They would grunt a bit and they'd hold, and I'd be driving and I'd have to pull over and find a spot to park, which might take me a minute or so. It got a bit harder with the third child when I was on the way to dropping the first child at school and things like that. It's like, oh, she's going to be late if I stop for her, but if I don't stop for her, you know, so it was a bit of juggling, but you know what? I mean, we juggle anyway as parents, right? So this obviously improves your life, it improves your bank account, and it's fantastic. What I find is that if kids don't, any child typically has a level of resistance to toilet training initially when they're 2, 3, 4, or you know, whenever it is that you start training them, and it's typically because it's just not normal for them. And some children can get a whole lot of anxiety because they're so used to feeling it come out and squish all over them, rather than, you know, being able to have it exit their body and not stay on their body, if you like. So I don't want to go into the gory details, of course, but if you are interested in this, if you would like any more information, if this has helped you, please share this and comment down below. I would love to hear, not just from a point of view of toilet training, but how even the idea, even before you've done it, how the idea of teaching your child basic sign language, you know, how much value you believe that has for you and how you can see that's going to change your life, because it really does. If you can give your child a way to communicate with you before they have a vocabulary, you take so much stress out of parenting. You build so much more trust with the child. The child understands that the world understands them. And you know, that really builds some pretty strong foundations of connection when it comes to them growing up and being shipped off to different places, childcares and things like that. So I would love to hear your comments. Please like, please share, please tag, please make sure you like my page so that you can get more information just like this. My name is Holly. I'm from The Holly Effect. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.